if you feel me, I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking cheap, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be. Mr. Wilson would've known. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me. So good to me. Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yeah, how it's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause
all praise be to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. Happy Sabbath, Israel. I hope everybody had a blessed week. I know we did. We're post-Hanukkah, post the Feast of Dedication. And all praise be to the Most High just for the festive time of the year that we in. A lot of Israel celebrating these feasts. And it's beautiful because we're reclaiming our identity, reclaiming our culture. Again, happy Sabbath to everybody. Please like, share, subscribe. Let's get this video going in people's algorithms and let them tune in so they can hear the word of the Most High tonight. Like I said, we're post-Hanukkah, right? We had an amazing time here at the headquarters here in Los Angeles. We literally partied for 8 days in a row. 8 days. And unfortunately, we know most of our people were celebrating Christmas, unfortunately. And it just amazes me year after year after year how our people as a whole, our family members, our friends, our colleagues, people that see the lifestyle that we live, we tell them we're getting ready for Hanukkah, we're getting ready for this feast, we're getting ready for this feast. And there's still just not this burning desire for them to be like, you know what? I'm done with Christmas. I don't want to celebrate that no more. I want to celebrate what God gave us. But that's part of the journey, and that's why we do what we do, because we have to make the Most High and the culture he gave us the trending thing, the thing that our people want to do again. Because right now we're comfortable. We celebrate what America tells us to celebrate, but I couldn't be happier because the culture that we've been given far supersedes anything we ever got during our oppression or our captivity here in America. People sitting here celebrating one day of gift giving. And it's really founded on lies. We can't really overlook that. But one day of gift giving. When the Bible has Purim, which is a day where we give gifts for, or it's a celebration, we give gifts for 2 days, right? But for all of the feasts that we have, our people are still so comfortable celebrating the filth that America has given us. But you know what, though? That's what this season that we are entering in is all about, because the Feast of Dedication isn't just dedicating. Again, it's rededicating. And now that we're out of the dedication celebration, we should be in a space where we are rededicated, where we can have honest, transparent conversations, not only with ourselves, but with our friends, our family, about what it is that we can do on an individual level to push this thing further, how we can get closer to that mark that the Most High has called us to be, which is perfect. Right? Because we don't shy away from that. You got some people, they're offended at the standard. Well, ain't nobody perfect. Well, Christ was perfect. And he commanded us to be like him. So this isn't something that we can't achieve, but as we get closer and closer to the end, it's more apparent on why we have to be those ones to continue to push this culture and tell the people that, hey, yes, you can. You're more than your circumstances. Rededicate yourself to a purpose and to a cause that's bigger than you. Because that's really where we're going to get our joy from as a people, and especially as men, when we build and contribute to things that's not just going to benefit us, but our progeny and people that are here far after us. That's what brings us true joy. And we got to get back to that. We got to get back to that. Let's read the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17. We're going to open up. We're going to bring out some scriptures because it's an unfortunate thing when we're in this, what people call the truth, but we still don't really share that desire that we're supposed to have towards things that was given to us, right? especially knowing that what we're doing now is something that we've stumbled across, bro. We didn't always know who we were. As long as we've been alive, we're just now celebrating a feast of dedication, a Passover. What level of gratitude should we have as a people for the culture that we've been given back? It had been stripped from us. It's been stripped from us. Now we have it back. We should be willing and able to take this thing further than we ever had before.
You should.
Real talk. Watch, let's read this real quick. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4.
Verse 4.
Uh-huh.
And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
So putting it into perspective for our people, the things that God has given us as a nation of people was stripped away from us. For so many generations, we were without the culture and the identity that God gave us. He stripped it from us. Read.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Uh-huh.
For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
So it's not even the fact that things were stripped away from us. Now we've been given into the hands of somebody else. Because there's this sore spot still within the black and brown community when you want to talk about us as slaves. You got some people that they have the mindset, I'm not a slave, I'm free. I can do whatever it is that I want. I can make money. I can work here, travel here. I'm free. And then you got other people who are a little bit, I guess, more spiritually inclined. And they start to say, no, in all these different areas, we're still oppressed. We're still slaves, right? But what we have to acknowledge according to the Bible is that when we sinned as a nation of people, the Most High stripped us of our culture because we didn't value it. So if we're in a space now to where he's giving us everything back and we're the ones basically relaying the foundation, what type of attitude and mentality should we have knowing how easy it is for us to be stripped of all the things that we just got back? We should cherish this a whole lot more. We should be having things set up that would actually safeguard our culture. Yeah. Things that are going to sustain the culture, help prolong the culture and build upon these foundations. That should be the mindset. And that's exactly what it is that we're focused on as we move forward into these next seasons. Because guess what? We're only getting closer to the end.
Right.
If time is running out, that means our opportunity to work off our salvation, the time is dwindling. You might as well get it in right now as much as you can while the Most High is giving you access and the ability to do so. Real talk. It says that us, even ourselves, should discontinue from the heritage that the Most High gave us. And that's important too, because we're still kind of sometimes in a space to where we understand what God gave us, but we're trying to mix it in with how we were brought up and the knowledge of this world and the culture and society of America. Like, we're trying to fuse the two. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us are finding issues on so many different levels with that. For example, the Bible talks about how a relationship between a husband and wife should be. We're going to have problems if we're trying to mix in with what God said compared to what's famous and what's popular in today's conversations.
Or what's trending.
Yeah, or what's trending. Now, take that and mix it in with our feasts and our other celebrations. As long as you're trying to mix this in with other nations and other people's opinions about what we should do, we're always going to have problems. We have to fully remove ourselves from what it is that we're used to and focus on what it is that God gave us. And it sounds so simple, but we're having a hard time doing it as a nation of people.
Yeah.
Because there's still, well, what about this and all these other opinions? And why don't we go to the Bible and look for the opinions of our forefathers? Because they're in there.
Okay.
They're in there. Best believe they are in there. Shalom, everybody. Watch this. Let's go to the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 5. And I want verse 1. Because, and this was something that me and Kabash was talking about a few weeks ago, but when we don't understand what it is that we have, we're always going to be in a position where we lack, because you're looking for validation elsewhere instead of internally with what you've already been given. Mm-hmm. That's like, you could be the best at making tables, right? But if you don't believe that, you'll never rise to that level of perfection that you could be.
Right.
And that's kind of the case with us. We're the best at serving the Most High God. We're the best when it comes to righteousness. But we've been bamboozled and we've been lied to for so long. We lack that trust within our own selves. And now we're looking for validation elsewhere. And it's slowing up the progress. There's nobody better fit to do this job than you. And that's why the Most High has called you. This is what we have to understand. But look at how the other nations feel about us, so-called black, so-called Latino people. When we get our stuff together, when we come together and build, this is the attitude. Watch this. 1 Maccabees chapter 5 and verse 1.
Verse 1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before.
So word had been spread that, you know what, them Israelites, they got their temple back together. They're celebrating this feast they call Hanukkah. They rededicated their altar. They've got their temple cleansed. This is how they feel about it. Go ahead.
It displeased them very much.
Go figure. Because now we're in a space to where we can actually have conversations with our God again. The altar has been re-erected. The priesthood is being cleansed. The temple is there, so sacrifices could be had now. These dudes are in a space to where their God can actually be for them. We don't like that. And that's the common thread. We have to understand that the more that we get our act together, the more that we are on point with building righteous communities, you have to know that this angers the enemy. This angers everybody around us.
So how do you build that comfort to somebody that's new to the truth if they're not used to that, or they feel like that's something that they just don't want to have to deal with?
So when it comes to that, and that's a great question, this is what I honestly feel like. I feel like as long as you have everybody in that community on the same page, then it can be fruitful. Because even the Bible says, can two walk together except they be agreed? We have to have on so many different levels things that are set up that show success in one way or another to show this makes sense and this is why we should do it. Sometimes I feel like there's too many things in our communities that are put together that aren't really that well thought out, or at times maybe contradictory. So people are looking at it and it's frustrating them, like, I'm not really seeing the fruits of this. I'm not really seeing why this is important. But when we do what our forefathers did and we really have communities that are there to benefit one another, and you're actively reaping the rewards of it, then it's easier for them to say, you know what, this is something I need to fall in line with. This is something that I should support because it's not only benefiting me, but it's benefiting my friends, my family. A lot of times people aren't coming into that when they're newer in. It's just a whole lot of questions that they're really not getting answers to. And the way that I exhort them is that, you know what, because the Bible talks about we should be pushing towards, pushing one another towards good works. I should provoke you to good works. I need to find what it is that you have to offer. If you don't know what it is that you offer, I need to be able to look at you and be like, you know what, this is what you have to offer to what we're building. Put in your brick over here, and then we're going to reap the rewards. And they should be able to see, like, you know what, this is something worthwhile.
That was actually well said, because in the sense of that shows you, for those people that are already in the truth, and you see that there's new people coming in, finding a way to build that connection with them so that they are, that they are building setting the foundation. And if you see that light that's in them that they could utilize, that's going to help further what we are doing here, what we're called to do in the truth, that's a job that you got to fulfill for that person. Like you're being an aid and a help, and it's providing security for those types of spirits as well.
And it's crazy because this actually kind of pours into the next section I had written down, because I've been doing more studying on what it's like to be a captive, because that's a whole mentality in itself, to be the captive instead of the person that is capturing things, right? And what that pours into is a few of these things that I had written down. The first one being, and this is called the reality of a captive, you have a grief mixed with relief sort of mindset, right? And what that really is going into is the fact that, okay, you were once captured, but now you've been freed. Going into the mentality and some of the things that that person or us that we battle with is, okay, there's some relief there because, wow, I'm no longer in captivity. But then there's also the grief knowing that, dang, there's so much to be done to get back to where we fell from. That's overwhelming for the average person. And the reason why is because communities aren't set up by a one person type thing. It's a collective of people that all put things on the table that make it run. Right. So if you're not somebody that was raised up dealing with law, dealing with, let's say, like some of the affairs of the kingdom, where do you even start to start getting structure back? And that's where we lost. 'Cause I got some scriptures on that too that we're going to get to in a second. But the whole thing is a lot of people are coming into this thing with a defeated, captive mindset. And we have to learn how to rewire our people and get them thinking like themselves again. You know, Bishop Tzion has a book coming out, and one of the chapters is called The Revelation of You. And that's the whole thing. A lot of our people have lost perspectives of who we are and what it is that we possess due to our captivity. But that's, like, again, this whole season that we are in for rededicating ourselves, what better time than to really do that soul searching and to look inside and say, you know what have the Most High enriched me with to get my nation back on point? Because we weren't called to be slaves. You know that scripture, is Israel a homeborn slave? The Most High has confused himself like, damn, I didn't think they would want to be in captivity this long. Right. Anybody else would have wanted to be freed by now.
They did what they had to do.
Exactly. Yeah. But not Israel. So let's read that again, verse 1.
Verse 1. Now, when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before.
Because this literally is everything about our culture. If our altar is rededicated and our temple is rededicated, that means we have a priesthood. If we have a priesthood, that means we have a direct line of conversation between God and men. Now we can get divine instruction. They were upset about that. Go ahead.
It displeased them very much.
Of course, because if we're on top, that means that they're going to be subservient to us. Read.
Wherefore, they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them.
And this is the common thought. Even today, it may not look the same because there's a lot more distractions and a lot more entertainment that's put out there. But you have to know that they want to destroy our generations. It's not like, oh, I just want to stop them from being good this year. No, they want to stop our generations. Go ahead.
And thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people.
And that's a sad reality for our people to understand as well, because we just got done celebrating Hanukkah. We would have thought that war was over, but no, we were still being destroyed.
Right back at it.
Right back at it. And it lets us know, too, that there's always the time to really take, what's the scripture say? To take note of the times that you are in. The Bible says it's a time for everything. We have to do better at recognizing the times. Because sometimes it'd be a time of war or a time of personal development. In Israel, we want to take vacations. Or we want to have fun. It's not the time for that right now. We have to be better observer of the times, right? That's all I needed from that, though. So let's get into this right here. I definitely want to talk about some of these points. About how we feel as a people. And these are the things that we need to go inside and figure out so that we can rededicate ourselves for the better, for the Most High and for our people, right? Getting into the captive mindset, especially after somebody's been freed. The first reality is you have grief mixed with relief. And this goes into all of the self-loathing attitudes that you see our people have, a lot of the distrust people have within themselves and amongst their community. Because though we're free, we're so destroyed, we don't even know where to start to fix ourselves. So destroyed. We talk about a lot about how bad it is to be conquered or captured, right? And when you talk to your average person, it's like, what do you think the worst part about going to captivity is? Obviously, you got people say, oh, the death and destruction of family members. Yes, that's one thing, right? They'd be like, oh, okay, the losing of our holy items and stuff like that. It's like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but they never go into the mentality and the warfare that's played there about how they would separate all of the people that made sure our nation would run. They would take our blacksmiths, they would take our doctors, they would take our teachers, the educators of the law, and ship them away and leave everybody else hopeless. We're literally in a space where we cannot rebuild because we don't have the information, we don't have the know-how.
I was just talking to Deacon Kanash
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, and we were talking about the aspect of having a library.
Yeah.
And in that library, we had generations of knowledge that our forefathers have been figuring out and passing down to the next generation. We have chronicle records of all of our lineage from to Noah, before Noah, like how we get Genesis, all the way connected directly to Adam. We knew how all of us is directly connected to Adam. We had remedies for our people. We got history that is never going to be told before. So it's like our libraries was full of so much information, and which means that it was so much time that was put into it. But then when we get put into captivity, that gets destroyed.
And we don't even value libraries no more. We're so destroyed we don't value knowledge. And that's really further proving the point of what I'm talking about, because when you had people that was here centuries before you were that figured out problems that you're getting ready to go through, do you know how much of a relief it is just to open up and say, oh, this person figured it out for us. This is how we do it to be successful. Now everything that we do is trial and error because we lost the knowledge.
Right. Starting over again.
Yeah, over and over again, right? And you have the first reality, which is grief mixed with relief. And then what we start to experience is identity confusion and the struggle for meaning. Because here's the thing. You know who you were when you went into captivity, right? But now when you come out of it, what assurance do you have in what it was that you once knew? Now all you have on your mind is, we was conquered. Who am I really? Am I even able to defend myself? Am I in a position? Do I really have a say-so? Does my word really matter when I'm fresh off of a leash? All of these things come into play.
Yeah.
All of these things.
And also, like, who are you in society?
Exactly. Because in terms of captivity, when you've been taught you can only survive with the help of this nation over here, what assurance do you have in what you can do naturally? What type of system of trust does that build amongst your community when you've been dependent on somebody else your whole time? Now you got your brother saying, hey, I'm going to take care of this, this, and this for you. They're like, man, nigga, please, like, I need to go over here. They're licensed. That type of situation, right? Yeah. The struggle for meaning. Now we've been taught things contrary to what our forefathers would have taught us. They're teaching us things different about what it means to be. Like, think about it. Right now, they're trying to reinvent what it is to be a man. Like, they're giving new definitions to everything that the world once knew. Yeah. All these new kids growing up, I don't even think I want to get married. I don't even think I want to do this. And we're being influenced by other people's opinions. We don't even understand who we truly are and what we're supposed to stand for. Everything is a question. Everything is a debate. There's nothing concrete no more where it says this is how we should be as a people. This is the reason for rededicating ourselves, because once you realize that, you know what, we don't have the answers, that's what the temple and that's what the altar was there for. Let's go to the Most High. Now we need to have that season where we sit down and we go to the Most High and say, Lord, direct our steps. Show us how to rebuild our nation. Because I don't know why some people feel like the truth is supposed to be like some type of club and we just kind of kicking it until Christ come back. Yeah. Like, there's not no real type of work that needs to be laid down. There's no real structure. There's no real culture. There's no real, like, laws and things that need to be upheld. They act like it's just this thing that's supposed to be like, hey, we're having some fun right now, and then pretty soon crisis. No. Yeah. The Bible gives us some very heavy titles that we must live up to. Repairers of the breach. That's heavy. That's heavy. This is what we're being called for, eternal glory. We got to know that this ain't no easy work, but it's not impossible. That's the thing. Sometimes I feel like we're so destroyed and we lack so much confidence. We look at things that are difficult and we automatically say it's impossible.
You know what this makes me think of too? Where I feel like a lot of people, something simple that a lot of people could do to get to that point, you have to love your history.
There you go.
And I don't feel like a lot of our people love their history and the truth. You know, like, you really have to love your history in order to be like, that's me. That's my people. That's us. You know, we have to continue that legacy, you know? Like, I don't see that a lot, you know, and I think those are things where it may just feel like a club or a membership to you, but in reality, it's like, no, we're literally rebuilding. You know, we are literally reestablishing a kingdom, a nation, you know, purpose, value, developing communities, because these are all different roles that needs to be in place in order for this community to be successful.
I don't feel like as a nation we're even willing to acknowledge the part that we play in these scriptures. We don't, and here's the thing too. Most of us are not even in a space to be willing to accept the fact that we're part of why we're in captivity now.
Agreed.
They'll just leave it up to, oh, that was just our forefathers. And that's probably why they don't want to look into that history. Because guess what? When you look into the history of the Bible, when you look into the history of your people, you read yourself. You read about all your shortcomings. You realize all the times where you messed up and that you contributed to the downfall of your people. And that's probably why they don't like to read the history. But we're not just reading this history. We're living this history. We're reliving this history. We have to put a higher level of responsibility and like ownership to this walk, into this ministry.
Agreed.
This ain't our first time here.
And that just, it ties into what you just said. That's how you're going to understand what time we're in.
Heavy.
It's that simple, you know, and it's not going to just come after one day or 1 week or a month or so. It's just like, no, you have to love your history. Study it, dissect it, remember it, get the details of it. Find something that's in it that's just intriguing to you that you just, I can't get enough of it. Because there's something, a part of it that you could do that to, so that it's going to keep you down that journey. With music, I'm studying a whole bunch of stuff I ain't never thought I would ever touch in life. Because it's a journey through the music part of it and the elements, and then also too just our people, you know. So it's just like, we gotta study, fam. Study your history, like, and teach it to your kids. Study it so well you could regurgitate it, you could say it again, you could, you know, pass along that information with confidence, with actual proven research. You know, that's how you're going to get respect, and also, too, how you're going to begin to hold your ground and also feed into your people the things that needs to be fed into them. Because people are going to have questions, and Scripture still say, too, we need to be ready to give answers.
Thank you. And that's the thing. Everybody feels pressure to have to know everything or be perfect now, and that's not the case. The hope is at some point, in some point soon, you should be able to have answer. But you got to do the work. If I come to you today and say, hey, I want to know about this, this, and that, you know what? I ain't got that for you right now. Give me some time. I should be able to come back to you within the next few years, and you should be able to expound upon those things if you're doing the work. That's the problem with our people. It's like, oh, I'm doing the work. I'm having these shortcomings. I just need more time. Man, you've been struggling for years with these same things. At what point can you give answer that's satisfactory? I don't know. That's not a satisfactory answer.
Because when you get to that point, you know what that sounds like? Quitters.
Yeah.
You're not trying to get the answer.
Yeah.
You know, you're just using it as an excuse now. And it's just like, come on, like, you know you got it in you. But you can't be lazy. You can't be frustrated. You can't be exhausted.
Exactly.
Like, you got to find a way to rekindle that fire and keep it pushing.
Look at this right here. A comment from Amber said, we need to boost our communities to create a better start for our youth and to care for our elders. Exactly. And we have to do this by keeping the law of the Most High. You see, Esau was strategic with how he set up this final captivity. And we all heard about the Willie Lynch letter, right? It talks about how you should take all these different type of slaves and put them against one another, right? Put the young slave against the old slave. Put the light slave against the dark slave. Take the slave from this area and put them against the slave from this area. Put the young woman against the older woman. The old man versus strategic. Because guess what? When our elders are taken care of, by default, our youth are taken care of. This is what we don't understand. Right. Everybody is so focused on their youth, they disregard the elders. And by the time they get old, the process has been repeated so many times. Now there's no direction. There's no way. The Most High tells us to stand in the old path. Stand in the way. Ask our fathers, and they should tell us. This is what we lack as a nation. Our elders, and it's sad because, especially in this Israelite community, right? There's this thing to where your eldership and all of that is only as good as how much you know according to the Bible. You know what I'm talking about? They only want to acknowledge you as an elder if you can break down Revelation 10 and Daniel 9. And that's not what our elders was used for. We already had our mediums between, the priesthood with if we needed understanding on the law. We had our elders for wisdom and building and correction. That's what the elders were for. And it's sad because our elders aren't appreciated now. A person that's been on this earth 80 years, they have something to show you. At least they should. Ain't nothing worse than an old fool that the Bible talks about. But in righteousness, if you're an 80-year-old man or woman, and this is a 25-year-old, 30-year-old man or woman, they got questions, they should have some answers. And we used to have communities where the young people would respect and value the answers that the elders would have, and they would follow upon their words. Now it's just like, well, that was you in your life. It's 2025. We can't continue to move like that no more. And check this out. This goes into the third thing that I had written down. After grief mixed with relief, after the identity confusion, and after the struggle for meaning, now we start to fall into resentment, distrust, and internal conflict.
Resentment to what? Or just in
resentment towards your people. Because now that you've been freed and you have the time to think, now it's filled with, look at the way they treated Moses after he freed them from Egypt. Resentment. We was better off in Egypt. You was trying to do all of this, and you feel a resentment because we had lost the way, and now there's a distrust there. You're unsure. All you know is that captivity, and you ain't trying to go back, and now it's like, damn, how do I really know if this is the person? And now we got all this distrust and internal conflicts based off of opinions because we lost our way. When you've lost your way and you got 7 different paths before you, you got one person saying, this is the way we got to go. You like, hell no. Like, we need to take some time to think about this. No rash decision making. Who put you in charge? Matter of fact, no. This is what happens once you've been freed. And we have no real direction and thing laid out for us to say, this is how you rebuild. We're so comfortable reading these stories and this history as just words on paper, and we're not taking enough time to really live it in our head. Put some color to these pages. The things that our people went through, it's a reason why it's been jotted down. It's a reason why this Bible is the best-selling book every single year.
And then you want to know something else, too?
What?
I feel like when you have that connection to the scriptures, that's when that like it makes like all of the Psalms and Proverbs feel more like I understand how they got to that conclusion. Yeah. Just because it's like I was so involved in how much like I understand your laws. I understand our history. I understand why things go the way that they go now because of everything that you showed us.
It becomes, it's crazy you say that because the more, like you said, that you're invested in this, the more that you attach yourself to this, it don't feel like some distant thing. It feels like something like my uncle just got done telling me this or something. Like, you reading certain scenarios, like, I just seen that happen right outside. You realize that this isn't as ancient as people would like to coin it. They make it seem like it's just something so far removed from this. We are living the words of this book every single day. I promise you. I promise you. Watch this. Go to
all praises.
Yeah, all praises. And this is what it's about because, and the Most High is so genius. After you spent all this time feasting and partying with your people in a season where things are calm and still, now these bonds have been built. And now we can sit here and have these real conversations about what we need to do to tighten up. Hey, we can't be on what we was on last year. We got to be better. There's people depending on us. There's people depending on us. We must get this together. You see, black people, Latino people, we're used to being in positions where people don't depend on us. That's why they like to get us for like these low-paying jobs. You kind of just comfortable doing your own thing. They don't want to put us in manager positions, CEO positions where a lot of the weight falls on you. We're comfortable not taking stuff like that because I don't want to be responsible too much. And look, I'm going to let you know right now, there are people that are depending on you. You can't continue to have this slave-like employee-type mindset. You got to start thinking differently. People are depending on us to make sure that we get our act together.
Yeah.
There's kids that are going to be born 10 years from now that are hoping that we make the right decision so that they can come into a situation and have it just a little bit easier so that they can help take this kingdom.
We really have to build their community.
Yeah.
And the first thing of building that for them is to really establish it amongst you and your peers. Yeah. Like, yo, we're a community. We need to work like a community to help build the younger community. Show them that how there are certain roles and mindsets and mentalities and attitudes that you have to have for your people. Yep. Like, it's like, I don't know. It feels like plain and clear, but I know that it's not, you know, and I don't know how to get in that gap to show like I don't know. I don't know how to get to that point right now. Maybe, like I said, you need to read more history or like, I don't know, but nah, that's a big deal, y'all.
It is.
That is a really big deal.
It is. And I feel like we get more into the conversation of perfection in those areas, the better of a job that we do setting up protocols, setting up culture, and setting up how the community is ran, because there's a lot of people that look at what we do from afar and it'd be like, man, shout out to y'all, whoopty whoop whoop. And in their mind, because we make it look so good, I'm pretty sure they're more in, what's the word I want to use? Basically, they have more of a fire under themselves to go out and try stuff because of how easy we make certain things look. Holding feasts, holding events and all of that, like Brucella, for example, it was a lot of work and a lot of planning that went into that. But because everybody had such a great experience and it was such a smooth flow and easy going, people was like, I can get used to this. And I think that's just what we have to do. We have to continue to do the hard stuff and make it look so good that people are saying, I can get in line with this. However hard it may be, it's worth it because of how smooth it rolls out every single time. And I feel like that's a lot of what we deal with, where things aren't necessarily easy, but they're simple. Simple to understand, but it's not necessarily easy to carry out. That's a lot of what we do right now with the work, getting our people back right, setting up these things to get us in a space to be accepted by God. Thou shalt not kill thy neighbor. Don't eat unclean food. It's all simple.
Yeah.
But now you have situations that present themselves to you in your life, opposition and different hurdles, and that's what makes it difficult. It's simple, but it's not easy. Right?
Yeah, but like when you get to that point, it's going to help build that purpose and that value. You know, like it's gonna like make that bold. You know, like you're gonna be able to do it. You know, you're gonna be able to do it. And it's just a matter of committing to it.
And the thing is, like I was saying, when someone can look at you and be like, man, through all the fire and through all the pain, what made you want to push through? And you giving them something that's just feeding their soul, they're gonna be like, man, I'm willing to go twain with you. Put me in the fire. That's one thing Paul was really great at doing, which was exhorting the people and just giving these answers that would knock people off their feet. Like, damn, like he had people saying, like, you know what, Paul, I'm interested in your God. This is how we have to be for our people. And we talked about that, being an evangelist, being an enthusiastic person preaching God. We got to be that. People can't see you doing this work and it's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just so tired trying to save my people. That's not going to encourage nobody want to follow your footsteps. You got to make people look at your life and be like, dude, I wouldn't want to live no other type of way. And have that type of conviction in your walk to where other people will see that and be like, you know what, this is somebody I need to get behind. That's what we need more of in our communities, right?
Yeah, and that's how you make good art.
Yeah.
That's how you make good Israelite art. Show that in its perfection. You know, be creative in that aspect. Show people examples of it.
Yeah, all praises. But you're exactly right, though.
God, like, you know, it's a beautiful vision.
It is. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all in there. Brother said, man, bro, we have to truly embrace our true culture in order to see the benefits of it. And I believe in that because it's still so easy to fall in love with a fake culture, a fabricated culture. We have a true culture that we should be yearning for, that we should be uplifting. It says our people still think we're in a better place because of captivity. Our people feel like because now that they have money and riches and fame, that they're in a better space. Watch this. Book of Psalm, chapter 78 and verse 5. The Bible is so detailed. A lot of times we miss the small things because we never truly understand the bigger picture. But the Bible is so detailed about how we should be and the things that we should be valuing. Watch this. The book of Psalm, chapter 78 and verse 5.
Verse 5.
Uh-huh.
For he established a testimony in Jacob.
A testimony. The Most High has established a testimony. A testimony is something that you have, bro. It's something that you openly speak about. It's principles and values that you stand on. This is what the Most High has given to us as a people. But read.
And appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children.
You see, we have a responsibility to make what it is that we're doing known to the next generations. This is what I'm saying when I'm saying that our people are not taking enough pride and they're not placing the proper value on their walk. The Most High made it a situation where we are commanded to make this known to the next generations. If the next generations don't know what you about by the time you die, you didn't do your job. You didn't do your job.
It tells you why.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. That the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children.
And they would continue to pass it on. Do you know what that looks like to where it's already understood? Hey, by the time I'm gone, you gonna know this. And by the time you know this, your son better know this. Your friends better know this. Your colleagues better know this. This is the type of people that we come from. That's why it's not a good situation to be like a quiet believer in God. You got a lot of people that want to believe in God off to the sidelines, just kind of cool by themselves. No, this is something your light should be burning. People should know. Go ahead.
That they might set their hope in God.
Look at that. So if the current generation's hope is not in God, you know how much work we have to do. Because right now they hope in money. That's since I've been a kid, MTV, BET, they've been flashing money. We know one thing: numbers don't lie. If you got that money to pay for it, it's yours. That's one thing we know. But one thing we don't know is God. Our hope is not set in God. This is the season to rededicate ourselves and make this a known thing amongst our people. We trust and believe in God.
Yes, sir.
And having the faith to back it up. Man, I came across a saying so cold earlier. Oh, I should have wrote it down. It said, vision without sacrifice is an illusion. And sacrifice without vision is despair. Oh, my goodness. That was so heavy when I read that. That was so heavy when I read that. Because our people have vision but don't want to sacrifice. And at that point, it's just an optical illusion. The thing that you got set up in your mind, you're never going to achieve because the level of sacrifice that's needed is not being displayed. We cannot be a people that say we believe, and we never put our foot and we never put our hands to the plow. We have to have action that backs our belief, y'all. And this is according to the word of God, not just me. What happened?
Let's get all the way to 8.
Go ahead.
that they might set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments.
Bro, because how easy is it for us to forget?
Right. And that's the whole point. We have to make that the culture. That's literally our job. And we're at the age where it's just like, yo, we're not young anymore.
Exactly.
You know, like, this is what we have to do. Like, this is what we have to do for our children. You know, like, this is the environment that I want them to have because we didn't get that, and we see the effects of that.
Yeah. And we would be selfish at this point if we
If
didn't make the
do it.
sacrifices. Yes.
Yeah, like, that's a vision that you should have as a community to make happen for the next generations.
But that goes into another conversation as well, because now we need to start to redefine what happiness is. Because it's easier for most people to skip that phase because they're in their own pursuit of their own happiness. Man. And what makes them happy is not sacrificing for the better good of the community. It's instant gratification, the things that they can go and get right now. This is where and there's so many conversations that need to be had, but we really have to start to go down these paths and really get an understanding, because it was always understood as men that, you know what, we may not get everything we want in this life, but I'm okay with that as long as my kids is straight. That's not the shared mentality no more. It's not.
I wrote this is a few years ago, I had wrote an entry defining that happiness. And I just remember I concluded to that, like, happiness it has to be God.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, that's the answer. It has to be God. Like, that has to be your happiness, you know, because that keeps you pure. You know, like, it keeps you humble. You know, and it's like, that's where you should have your peace at, you know, because you're not going to find it nowhere else. You're not. So
that's profound. And again, I feel like it's one of those concepts that's still so simple. Yeah, it's easy for you to say, but that it still don't take away from the truth of the matter. That's what it is.
No, that is what it is.
And I got a couple questions I want to ask you too. I feel like this would be a good time to segue into this. First question I want to ask you is, how do you motivate people who are tired of starting over?
That are tired of starting over.
Because that's the cycle of our people. Especially when you get into the history. You see all the captivities we've been in. Everything black people do, everything brown people do, the white man, the government tries to destroy it, and I'm just tired. How do you motivate a people who are tired of starting over?
All right. From my perspective, or I would say how I would do it. I think that would be a cooler way. How I would do it, I would know that, you know, of course, if this person's my friend, I know this person. I know their character. Like, I know the things that get them excited, the things that bothers them, the battles that they've overcome, some of the things they might be struggling with. I've seen how they've matured. Like, I've seen a lot of different things. Like, I know this person. And when they tired of starting over, I have to, like, remind them of a vision that I know that they would really love to see. Like, you know, just like, imagine this, if we could get to this point, you know, or imagine when we doing this, and that, you know, like, keeping the eyes up there, and it's just like, everything is just exactly how we want it because we've been putting in the work and the development to get there, but sometimes it's not going to be that easy. That's a part of the fighting for it, you know? So it's just like, that, for me, I feel like that's the best way I could connect and try to help somebody, like, come on, like, we can't give up in a sense. Like, we got to fight for it. And it's something worth fighting for. You know, so, and that's a part of life. That's, to me, is success. You know, like that's where you find success. It's like, all right, I'm strengthening my partner's faith and their devotion to the Most High and their talents, you know, and the things that they can offer. That's just going to help elevate the culture. Like we everybody needs that type of encouragement.
Oh, that's fire. And I think what you said as far as having a vision and having something to refer to, a mental picture to refer to of where you want to be, I feel like that's heavy. That is heavy.
No praises.
I feel like as long as that can survive within the minds and the souls of so-called blacks and Latinos, I feel like we can be okay.
So much further.
If that picture gets distorted or you altogether lose that image, man, it's heavy. Another question I want to ask you. Knowing, well, maybe I'll start with this one. What resources do you feel like we possess, so-called black, so-called Latino, so-called Native Americans, right? Israel, today, what resources do you think that we possess but we overlook because they don't necessarily look like power?
Oh.
Because it's easy to say, well, we don't have no military. Okay, we lack that resource, but what do we have that most people overlook because it doesn't seem powerful?
Let's get that scripture in Maccabees, because this is the one that feels. I just read it and we were just talking about it, and I think that it helps. It's going to help support what I got to say.
Which one are you looking for? Khan. It says over here in the comments, we got to ensure them since we're doing this with the Most High on our side. It's a guarantee.
Khan.
That goes back to the vision that Deacon Kabosh was talking about, and I definitely agree with that. Khan.
So chapter 3 and verse 19.
First Maccabees 3.
Yeah, it's saying the same exact thing.
I'll read it for you right now. Verse 19, it says, "For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven."
Now for that, it's like, we may not have all of these different things. However, it's just like, we got the Most High.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're finding a way to connect to Him. Like, that's who we got. You know, and again, finding your happiness there. Because it don't matter what anything, like, it don't matter what anything could happen. Like, and it doesn't matter. Because it's just like, I know I'm cool. I got the Most High. Like, you know, like that's, to me, it's just like the biggest thing, because of, we know the miracles He could do. All of them. He got us out of Egypt. And it's going to do it again. Like, I'm expected to be, whoa.
Right.
You know, like, so it's just, that's what we got.
As you say that, I can't help but just think about the power of your thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. And they talk about even like when you believe in something so much, you become delusional about it. You have other nations of people that literally bow down to inanimate objects and feel like they can overcome things because of that. We have the one true living God. What level of assurance and confidence should we have towards the things that we give ourselves to, knowing that He is with us?
Yep.
That it's mind-blowing to me just to see the effects of all the doubt that's been poured into us, you know, all the pessimism, and they've really destroyed our minds. And I believe there's a famous quote about that too, concerning us in chattel slavery, about keeping the body strong but the mind's broken. That's what we are. That is what we are. Let's get this real quick. Book of Lamentations, chapter 3, and verse 40. We have to be in a space, and this can't be something that's only triggered by great travail or extreme opposition. We have to always be in a space to where we can self-reflect and do some inner searching. Because sometimes people wait for like big events. Like they wait until Day of Atonement to self-reflect.
Yeah.
Israel, we can't just wait until Day of Atonement to self-reflect. We have to be in a position where we're doing it often. And that's why it helps sometimes for people that got like a background in sports. Because when you're going into battles, right, because that's what each game is, a small battle. After each battle, you're supposed to come together and look at what you can do better for the next battle. So when you're not taking on projects, when you're not putting your hand to certain things, and you have to be in a space to where you always got something going on so that you can go back and do some checks and balances and see what can I do better going forward? How can I be more efficient moving forward? How can we use less resources and save more time but be just as effective moving forward? These are the things that we have to do, especially within our own spirit, right? Let's read this. The book of Lamentations, chapter 3 and verse 40.
Verse 40. Let us search and try our ways.
Let us search and try our ways. Sometimes people are so comfortable having opinions that they never even bring those opinions into fruition. They just have the opinion. The Bible says, you know what? Search yourself and try your ways. If you think the way that you're doing things is the right way, really examine it. Examine it. And go ahead.
And turn again to the Lord.
And turn again to the Most High, because a lot of times we'll find out the way that we think things should be done is not according to the way that God should have it be done. So guess what? You got your opinion, put your opinion to the test. After you put that opinion to the test and you realize that's not the best way to go about it, turn back to the Most High. That's the season that we in right now, because a lot of us do things because we think it's the right way to go about it. And it's crazy because it might be. But for you, what's good for you may not be good for the whole. Sometimes you got to reassess and be like, you know what? Even though this may be convenient, this may be good for me, I can see how this isn't going to help everybody else in the long run. Let's put that to the side, right? When we start thinking more kingdom and community minded like that, and we start looking towards the well-being of one another, as the Bible says, we're going to see a lot more results. A lot of the times when we have these issues, especially amongst ourselves, it's because we're doing things out of selfishness. No one could be mad at you if you putting it all on the line. It's like, man, I thought this was going to benefit everybody. It's only so mad somebody can be with you. If it falls apart, falls in your face, it's only so mad people can be with you. Yeah. But now if you're doing selfish things and it's causing you to get a blot on your name or stain your name, or it's causing a stress in the work that's being collectively done, people going to be upset. Because now you're not doing things for the greater good of everybody else. You got selfish. We have to be in a mindset where we're not thinking so selfishly as a people no more. Watch this. Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 7.
Jeremiah what?
Chapter 1 and verse 7. Sister Monica said, I believe our people possess an unmatched spiritual resilience, not because suffering was chosen, but because spirit refused to die when suffering arrived. I like that. I like that. I do think that there's nobody else on this earth that could have experienced and lived through everything that the Bible had set up for Israel but Israel. All the other nations, they would have been gave up. Mm-hmm. We the only people on the earth that can make slavery look good. I ain't never seen another group of captured people make things look so good. Goodness, man. Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 7.
Verse 7. But the Lord said unto me, say not, I am a child. For thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak.
Because the prophet Jeremiah had a situation, and it's a similar position that we find ourselves in, where we're not willing to speak up on certain things. We're not willing to set up certain standards because we're afraid of how we're going to be viewed. He said, man, don't worry about it if you young.
Yeah.
It don't matter if you don't have all these accolades, and I'm giving you the tools to do the job. People be like, man, well, I only been in the church this many months. I really don't want to speak up. No, if you got something that's going to help us build, you need to speak up. Oh, well, I really don't have no rank, so I'm not in a position to try to do good works. And that don't even sound right.
Yeah.
There ain't no scripture that say you got to have rank to do good works. Sometimes people care too much about how they're viewed instead of doing the right thing. Collectively, if we had all these young men that's saying, hey, not out of disrespect, but in all respect, I'm not trying to step on toes, but according to the Bible, this is how things need to be done. You open up the words, it's like, man, the young brothers is right. This is the position that some of the prophets and our forefathers was in. He said, don't worry about you being young or people not. I'm giving you instruction. Go ahead.
Whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee.
And this is what our people have to understand. Because we're met with a whole lot more hostility and opposition than just faces. Them faces usually come with attitudes and opinions. The Most High said we shouldn't be in a space to where other people can take us off track of what the Most High has already instilled within us.
That's what we got.
Yeah.
That resource.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like,
my mind is made.
Set.
This is what needs to be continued and set out.
Cool with it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But you know what? And you told me about that. When you've been given a gift and you take that gift as far as you can, as far as skill, and you decide to display that to the world, it's hard for people to naysay. I may personally not like the piano, but if I see somebody who's mastered the piano, play the piano in an open space, I'm going to sit back in awe, like, wow. Yeah. To a degree, that's what the work that we're doing for the Most High needs to be. We need to be so hands-on and getting so much experience to where we're filled with this skill. By the time we start to show the things that we're doing on behalf of our God, people should be able to look at it and be like, wow, that's beautiful.
You know what the key thing is?
What's that?
Being intentional.
Con.
That's literally what it is. You have to be intentional with all of these things, and that's how you get the sincerity out of it as well. Like, it's real. It's real.
Yes, sir. Was that all of that? Verse 8?
Yeah.
Con. I'm going to get one more scripture and then like a few more questions. We done. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1. Yeah, we're not in a space where we could play around no more. We got plague coming after plague. All these different things that are happening throughout the earth. Why don't you want to make your mark and let this world know what type of time you was on while you was here? We all make an impact on this earth, whether we like to believe it or not. And there's scriptures in the Bible that talk about how through our sins, the other nations get enriched and they get empowered. As much as we sit here talking about Russia and Ukraine, and we're the reason why they have anything right now. Go ahead. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1. Yep.
12 and verse 1. Remember, now thy Creator in the days of thy youth.
You see, in our youth is our time to remember our Creator. Because the more that we do this while we're old, while we're young, we train ourselves on how we're going to be when we're old. We set up all these good habits now so that we continue to practice them when we're old. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while we still have our strength. The Bible talks about it. The young man, his glory is in his strength. The older man, his glory is in his gray hair. The hope is that we use this strength the right way, so by the time we transition into our gray hairs, we have the wisdom.
I need to highlight this.
Yeah, real talk. But go ahead.
Remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, While the evil days come not.
While we have an opportunity. The fact that we was able to party for 8 days without war ensuing, we're in a good space for the Most High to do some great things with us. We have to prepare ourselves and be something worth using. We have to be usable by God, right? Read.
Nor the year draw nigh.
Uh-huh.
When thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them.
Ain't that something? Because people get jaded. Don't let this be something where you let the years go on and now you've lost that fire and it's like, I really don't want to have to do such and such things. I'd rather just do this. Yeah. Do the hard work now. Just do it now. This is why we rededicate ourselves, because we understand this is some hard work.
And that's how you build your discipline.
Yes.
Because you're going to go through those motions, but you have to learn how to maneuver through it.
Scriptures is heavy. It says, don't let the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. You think an 80-year-old man got pleasure in going out street teaching on Saturday? No. He's like, man, I'm trying to relax. I need to sit down, ice these knees or whatever. Yeah. Don't let us waste our time. Go ahead.
While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain.
Let's not wait until mass destruction and some of these things that we look forward to are no longer a thing. That we have time and opportunity now. Now is the time to do this, y'all. And this kind of goes into the question that I wanted to ask you, right? When you think about the history of oppression with our people, right? What are some of the things you think survived, even though everything else was taken away from us?
I'm always gonna say God, cause even when like people that's not like in the truth, right? Some people that just like, they like a regular person, and you know that they got a strong belief in God still. It's still like all right, I see you trying to connect, or like you have that attachment. And I feel like that you always seen amongst our people. And so it's like that's something where, we know that he's the answer, So I think that's always been our, our thing, like, that's my answer.
I like that too. I would want to add our memories. And I think that's why celebrating our feast days, creating these bonds, creating these memories are so important.
Agree.
Imagine you just had the best feast of your life, and in an unfortunate event, y'all being taken into captivity, and if things is bad, you should be able to look at your mates and be like, man, I remember what things was like before this. We got something to fight for.
We have to.
Yeah, we got to get back to that time when we was smiling and we was free. So I think these memories is something that survived as well, because when we went into captivity, man, they changed a lot.
It did.
They changed the way we kept our laws. They changed our laws. They changed the way we thought about ourselves. They changed our languages. Like, man, a lot happened in captivity.
Yeah.
But for all of that, the memories was still there. Like you said, our people are memorying God and just being free with one another.
Yeah. Man. That's also the songs. The songs.
And that's heavy. That's heavy because there's songs that you could play right now that people be like, man, I know exactly where I was, what I was wearing, what I was eating when I first heard this song. Music is powerful.
No, yeah. I'm sure we have some songs that would make all of us just cry right now.
Sure.
Like,
For sure.
You
we
know,
do it now, like
like it's
this
crazy.
song by such and such. Oh man, they be like the 2000s was the best. Automatically transport you to a different time.
Man.
The culture, and I'm gonna keep giving y'all flowers, man. What we doing with the music department here at True Nation, I'm thrilled for, and I can't wait to see what you guys continue to build with it and how influential it can be to the masses. Right?
All praises. No, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shalom to everybody online right now. We got about 500 people watching live. Hope everybody's having a blessed Sabbath. Please like, share, and subscribe. Send this to somebody who needs to hear a godly discourse and needs to hear what real belief in God looks like and sounds like. We're trying to direct our people back home because the days are drawing nigh. Last question I want to ask you, my brother. Let's see. At what point in your personal life did you realize that you weren't just fighting personal struggles, but inherited ones?
This gonna sound crazy. I feel like I knew that as a kid. I did. Because it's just like, this didn't feel like it was, like, at least for me, it's like, it's not supposed to be like this, you know? And that's something, of course, like, you don't really know how to say it as a kid. You just have a feeling like, you know, like, I don't, you know, like, that's not how it's supposed to be.
It's not right.
You know, like, that's not what I need. Like, you know, like, as a kid, we look for guidance still. You know, and so certain things actually matter, you know, even though we may not say it or don't know how to express it, but it's like we really be looking for, like, answers, you know, and ways of life and understanding things and, you know, how we think and process stuff. So I think that's like, yeah, that's it for me.
And it's heavy you said that. And it's the thing with that is I would like to believe that I felt similar as a kid, and maybe it was because we was just destined to find this truth, and we always was a little bit more hands-on with our thinking. But I definitely remember as a kid just having questions.
Yeah.
Because I would look around and I'm saying, this just doesn't make sense. And it kind of goes back and sheds light on why we need to continue to set up our communities the way that our forefathers had them. When these young kids and these young girls and boys have questions, they need elders that will have answers for them.
I was just sitting there thinking, I was always talking to my grandma. So it's like, it just made me wonder and wanted to know more about like our lineage, our family, our history, like, you know, and those are the things that you just, that was my childhood. Yeah. You know? So yeah, yeah, for me, yeah, it was a kid. I had to be.
And our people will fare better off asking themselves these questions and having these thoughts, because it's easy to take that victim mentality, like, oh, it's just me, poor me. And man, it's kind of a relief when you get to say, okay, my whole nation is getting it.
Yeah.
It's almost a breath of fresh air. Like, damn, I thank God I knew something had to be going on. It couldn't just be me.
Yeah.
Couldn't just be me. So if you know that we're all suffering, you know that we can all be blessed as well. And that needs to be the mentality.
And how we could work together.
Exactly. And that was one thing I had to unlearn too, because there were certain lies that, you know, we were fed as kids that I had to unlearn. Coming into this truth, I had to unlearn some of them lies that I thought was true about my people. Like, oh, we just destined to be mess ups. You can't work with Black and Latino people. No good, can't be trusted. Like, I had to unlearn these things because the righteous of my people are definitely worth building in all these different ways with. Yeah. But those who oppose God and oppose his law, of course you're going to find trouble with those. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Last scripture, 1 Peter chapter 2. Again, happy Sabbath, everybody. I hope you guys are enjoying this dialogue. And I hope you guys are inspired to move forward into this next season being rededicated, really digging deep within our own souls and figuring out what it is that we can put on the table to help get our people closer to being accepted by the Most High God. Because it is definitely a group effort. 1 Peter chapter 2, and let's read verse 1.
Verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and all hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings.
Because you realize that some people are motivated by different things. And when your motivation in this walk isn't purely the love of your neighbors, freedom, righteousness, the Most High, Yahweh Shai, it's usually something like this.
Yeah.
The malice, that's enticing to you. You love seeing people doing malicious things towards one another, or the envying, or the hypocrisies. It's something that's enticing you. You want to make sure that you're being enticed by all the right things, right? Mm-hmm. As newborn babes in this walk, we're rededicated ourselves once again. What should be the focus?
As newborn babes. Sorry, what should be the focus?
Oh, no, you can keep reading. My bad.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
As newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby.
We have to desire the sincere milk.
Come.
Sincerity. You have to be sincere, and that goes into what you was talking about, intentional. Because you can be intentionally wicked, but be sincerely intentional. Yeah. Make sure that what you're doing it because you want this to leave a long-lasting impression on somebody else. You put your time and effort into this because you valued it and you saw that it was good. Don't let it just die there. Put your all into it so somebody else can look at your sacrifice or look at your contribution and that they can appreciate it as well and say, you know what? I want to contribute.
Do you know what that is? You build morality.
Yes.
And we was a people that had good morality. You know, like, that's your way that you can do it. You know, like, that's literally like a way that you could show that you have good, good morals when it comes to the Most High and just overall, like, living and purpose and reputations. Like, those things, it matters. Like, that's how we get back to the old ways.
But read that again from the top.
Wherefore laying aside all malice and all guile and all hypocrisy and envies and all evil speaking, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby.
You see, that's what you want to measure your growth with, this sincere milk. And this is letting you know that there's almost a way to be fed when coming into this walk. You don't just give your newborn baby carne asada steak. You gotta get them ready for that as they get teeth and develop. There's a way that we should be feeding young minds so that they can become of mature age and be ready for the things that's a little bit harder to understand, a little bit harder to chew, but with balance and with the not only with balance, but with that clear road kind of carved for them. Not skipping steps. And no, this is the path that you go. There's a path for everything. I don't care if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer. There's a path you have to go down in life. If you want to be righteous, there's a path that we must travel. It's as simple as that. So with all that, Israel, we're going to go ahead and bring this to a close. Again, Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Happy Sabbath to all the 12 tribes that are scattered all across the world. Again, shout out to everybody that's been tuning in and supporting this class. If you guys want to donate, please donate. Our website is truenation.org/donate. Check out the website and, contribute to a righteous cause. We're out here rebuilding our people, laying again the foundations, right? Building these righteous communities, and we can definitely use and appreciate your help. Again, Israel, this has been another segment of the Blue Strip. Appreciate y'all. I'm Apostle Yashamai, and to my right, Deacon Kabash. And we say shalom, y'all. Y'all stay tuned. We got room 144 coming up next.